Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Shane and I are back for Survivor 49, episode 12. And once again, we have Justin back on from Survivor 48. Welcome back, Justin, to the podcast.
Appreciate you having me back on.
Yeah. We're excited to talk with you about the penultimate episode of the season. So what are your thoughts on this episode, Justin?
Well, my buddy Shane and I actually had an opportunity to go to Bryce and Wen's party. So we got to see the penultimate episode with a bunch of Survivor fans. Some Survivor legends were in the house. We had Jeremy, we had Noel from 43, we had my buddy Charlie from 46, and now on 50.
Ozzy.
Ozzy was there. Bryce and Wen, obviously, they always have a great time. Trashy Annie did a great concert before the show. So
there's a throwback. Cool. Mikey B was there.
With my buddy Mikey B.
Yeah.
We got a shout out. I rarely drink, but and if I do drink, I do not drink dark liquor. And I told Mikey B that he started a whiskey company called Watertown Whiskey, local distillery. They're doing a lot of work in California too, but it's a coconut infused whiskey to pay homage to his time on Micronesia. Wow. He said, I wasn't out there long enough to get sick of coconut. I also wasn't out there long enough to get sick of coconut. So I really liked that. It was delicious. He made Shane and I a couple drinks. We did a little taste test together. So it was awesome. I actually want to start carrying it in Luigi's once my rep gets back from vacation. So that's the plan. If you boys are ever in the area, I'll make you up one of those coconut cocktails.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'll be there. You'll see me.
Absolutely.
This is like the third time I've seen you in the past 5 days.
Yeah, Shane was just in for dinner the other night, Jake.
Wow.
Yeah, sort of unexpectedly, but yeah.
He dropped it. I was looking out the window and I'm saying there's a million people in there, and I'm just like, I know this dude. And then I'm like, holy shit, it's Shane. Oh, sorry, family friendly.
You're fine.
I go, oh my god, it's Shane.
I told the guy at the front, I was like, tell Justin I'm here. I didn't give him a heads up though.
Oh, my buddy Pete, yeah. And then he tells me like halfway through your dinner, I'm looking at your buddy Jordan because he's looking at me through the window.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, do I know Jordan? And I met him that night. But Pete goes, oh, your buddy Shane's here. I go, when did you want to tell me? So then I walked out and I brought the boys over some dessert. So
yeah, which is great.
Time to catch
Much
up.
Appreciated. Yeah. I had to go to the airport and you're right near the airport. I'm like,
I'll go easy access.
Yeah. Shane, what were your thoughts on the episode?
So I liked it. I mean, it's great to watch at like a watch party, especially being with Justin. Had to rewatch it, of course, because it's a little loud in there. But this season started slow. It's definitely picking up. I'm excited to see the ending because I feel like edit-wise, you can kind of see who the front runners are and who aren't. And like, there's like Rizo and Savannah, both are playing very good games. So I kind of want to see, does one of them pull it off? Do they go with each other? And how's that vote going to come out if it happens?
Yeah. I'm very curious what the vote count is going to be in the end because I do think it's going to be close, assuming it's Rizdog versus Savannah. Like that's what I'm assuming is going to happen, but I guess we'll have to see.
The dynamics for sure are interesting. And it's like, can Sage steal a vote or two? Can Kristina steal a vote or two? Sophie, she had that big moment, which, by the way, I did not agree with. Playing an advantage in a confessional. I don't know the optics. I don't know the details of what happened. People are giving her flack online for looking like a fool in front of the jury. But in her defense, how are you supposed to know you can play an advantage during a confessional when you're off the side with the producer? So I don't know what happens. You never really get the full story as a viewer, unfortunately. They try to do the best they can with the footage that they have. But that's a pretty big moment and an advantage that we've seen for several weeks now. We want to see that put to use. We want to see that played. It's her moment to make a big move. And it's like, she's kind of handcuffed in a sense. So I don't know. I was hoping to get your boys' reaction on that, see if I'm out on an island by myself here, but to me, it just didn't sit right.
Yeah, I didn't like it because like we've seen that advantage played before. I think the first time was in Heroes, Hustlers, Healers, like the Devin Pinto moment, which I guess that was sort of played beforehand. But then in Island of the Idols, Elaine played it at Tribal.
Yes.
So you're kind of expecting that to be the case. I mean, I guess in 48, Mitch played it your season in the voting confessional. So like, it doesn't seem consistent. And I saw an interview with Jeff this week where he was like, oh, well, we knew that by changing it up and having the knowledge is power in the game, that could make it interesting. So that's why we did it. But I'm like, that seems a little manipulative. Like, you kind of want to be consistent here. Like, my philosophy is always be consistent. Let the players know the rules they're playing with so they can strategize around it, not, like, change it up so you have no idea what rules you're playing.
Yeah, I definitely think consistency is key as well. I completely agree with you guys on that. I was watching it with my dad this past week, and my dad was confused. So I had to be like, "Dad, I guess this is what happened," because he thought it was something at Tribal as well. And so I definitely agree it should stay at Tribal Council. So I think Sophie, was made to look like a fool by production.
Yeah. And like it almost seemed like they were baiting Steven too, because when Steven played it in the confessional, then he's like, all right, I don't have an advantage anymore. Like that doesn't seem like something natural you would say. Like it seems like they baited him to use that term.
Yeah. The whole thing around it I thought was really strange. And it was confusing not only to Sophie, of course, she's the one who wants to play this advantage and make a move in front of the jury, but also as a viewer, because like you said, Shane, I had to watch it a couple times to get the gist of it. And then you read about it in Exit Press and some of the other interviews that you see online, Mike Bloom, Dalton Ross, the guys who are actually like out there gathering the information. And then you're still like, but why do that? To me, it doesn't make sense. You don't need it. I'm all for letting the players who you put on the cast play the game and just go as hard as you can out there. That's one of the ways that I don't think you can account for whatever the hell they're going to throw at you.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's go from the top of the episode. So we have Steven being excited that Sophie S is gone, which is funny, considering he's about to go. But and then we get Rizo talking about his idol play is God tier cinema, like the Avengers Endgame of idol plays, I guess. And then Rizo does lie about the expiration date. So he says it expires at 6. It actually expires at 5, which Shane is interesting because Vanquish always has idols expire at final 6. So how do you feel about this? Like the expiration date being at 5 in actual Survivor?
I mean, so the reason we do 6 is because that's what Kristen wants, and I defer to what she wants. But if you go by if you think about her logic, which I agree with, by having it at final 5, like especially when there's fire making in the game, you're kind of like there's no opportunity to get someone if they have an idol. You're giving them a guaranteed path forward. I also don't like fire making, and in Vanquish we used to do it. I magically convinced her to get out of it, but I think as long as you're consistent, it's fine. Like 6 or 5, whatever. I mean, if there's no fire making, I'm good with 5 because it gets you to the end. Yeah. But like if you make a big move at 5 by playing an idol and saving yourself, you also have a huge target on you at 4, and you're probably going to go out there. So it's all about the balance in it. Right. But if there's fire making, then I would prefer it end at 6 because that way there's still another round to get them.
Yeah, agreed. Justin, you have any thoughts on this?
I don't know if it was just, and like I said, the edit's always kind of misleading. We never get the full story. I know Rizzo's playing out there really hard, and he's putting on a show himself. I don't know if he's a master salesman or if the rest of his cast is just kind of confused on the way idols work. I have always seen them work until 5. So if he told me it works until 6, I would be pretty skeptical myself, just as someone who's a fan of the show who's watched pretty much every season.
Right.
But to just say that, it's expires at 6, go up, play it. All right. If he plays it tonight, we'll just get him next round and then sit back down, knowing that he's probably going to play it at 5. That to me is wild. So I have to give him a ton of credit. He convinced the rest of his cast to not go for him. It's a very public idol. Everyone knows he has it, and they still will not take a shot at him, which to me is crazy. But I got to hand it to the kid. He's playing a great game. I just hope to see, what happens. Like you said, Shane, it's the last kind of step before you have to put somebody into fire. So maybe whoever wins final immunity, if he pulls it off in the end for his first individual challenge win, we'll see what he does with it. But if they're like, well, let's put him into fire, it's our last chance to get him before he gets to in front of the jury. So.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Rizzo's game. Like, I think the fact that he could bluff the idol so long is so impressive. It's like 9 tribal councils now. But he's definitely like playing the showman a bit, which hopefully doesn't hurt him in the end because it can be viewed as a good move or a bad move depending on how you're rubbing the jury. So it's hard to say.
And it's such like a tightrope out there because everyone, if you're on TV, you have a huge ego and you know that you want things to go a certain way. So he's a very confident person. he should be confident in himself. He's playing really well. He's playing hard. He's playing to win. But you never know how the other people are going to perceive it. And it's like, when he's doing the emotes, I think it's funny, but I'm also not somebody who I played against. So if he backstabbed me, if he lied to me, if he got me, I'd be like, why is he, proverbially dancing on my grave? That might rub me the wrong way. I don't know. It's a very, very fine line. I think he's teetering on it, but it's a great show. I have to give him credit. He keeps me involved every single week.
Yes.
Yeah. And to your point, like, I think it's even more impressive that he could make that bluff, considering they're just casting these super fans. Like, they should all know how idols work. And it's not like Tony's lie back in Kagayan, where like they specifically were like, you have an idol with special powers. You just lied about the special power, and it made sense. Like,
and
here,
it was gold on
none
top
of that.
It. So you could see there was definitely something about his idol that was different. When idols are now just like a random string of beads, it looks like you just grabbed it off of somebody's torch or their backpack. It's really hard to lie and convince somebody, hey, this thing actually does not last until we're supposed to last, or it has special powers in a certain way that we've never seen before. So I don't know. Like I said, I got to give him his flowers on that. He's a master salesman. I could use him at Luigi's a couple nights a week. He could probably sell some extra pies, but I don't know. Is it his gamesmanship? Is it him being that person who is just masterfully controlling the rest of the cast, or is it the rest of the cast just saying like, hey, I don't know, I'll take him at face value. Maybe this does expire at 6, even though we all know it should expire at 5.
Right. Yeah, I was just going to bring up the Tony comparison with the Super Idol and line about the expiration date there, because that's the first time I think we saw that type of move. And so, as you guys said, though, Tony's looked different, and so I don't know if it's the beat a string that is fooling people, or Rizzo's sales pitch, or what, or they've never seen Tony plays for some reason. So I don't know.
Or maybe they're all big Vanquish fans and they just assumed it expired at 6. I would hope. I'm a huge Vanquish fan, so you never know. You boys have a huge community out there. You might not even know it.
Yeah, true. Very true. So then Sophie's planting seeds against Rizzo and Savannah. Again, interesting, because we know she's not going to make that decision to go through with it. But let's go to the reward challenge. So they have to race through the obstacles, grab the bags, and they have to land the one bag on top of the very high platform. We saw Noelle win this in 43. So this is for Mexican Feast and Donuts at the Sanctuary, where good things happen, because I don't know, like, it's just funny. Like, Jeff, like an episode or two ago, where he's like, he just makes it like sound like this cool thing, like the Sanctuary's all of a sudden back after being absent. It's like, nobody cares, Jeff, that the Sanctuary
literally.
So and Letters from Home are back, though, so we haven't seen those in a bit, so that's pretty cool. But Savannah wins. She brings Rizzo and Soph. So what are your guys' thoughts on this challenge and Savannah's decision here?
It didn't seem like Jeff liked this challenge too much. I don't know if you guys got the same kind of feeling. I have to say, he's very encouraging. He was very encouraging when I was out there. He definitely wanted to see more out of all of us. And I just think that's who he is as a person. He's a showman himself. He's a host. He knows what really should be really good TV, but it just didn't seem like he was feeling this challenge at all. So I feel bad for whoever the challenge director was on this one, or whoever designed this one, because he's like, everyone's flying through it and having no problems at all. So his commentary seemed a little muted, and I couldn't see his face, but I can only imagine in my head he's probably like, what the hell did they plan for this one? Especially at Final 6.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if they've ever done like a Mexican feast reward before, but as soon as I heard him say that, I'm thinking Australian Survivor. Because on Australian Survivor, they always do like an American feast or a Mexican Parma or whatever that is. So, and Jeff knows about Australian Survivor because he's mentioned that Parvati was there, and it doesn't seem like he talks favorably about it. So it's interesting, like, did he subconsciously like take this from Australian Survivor? And like the theming of the reward too was so like cringe. Like, they had the big hats they're wearing. I'm like, did you need that? Like, just eat your food.
I don't know. Riz God wearing a sombrero is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Also, at one point, I think Riz God mentions Operation Mexico, like Operation Italy in 47.
That was hilarious.
Which is a really funny reference. So
Yeah.
And so then they get the letters from home, and so we kind of get like more into Riz God's life, which I think was really good. I thought it was good to kind of show that he's this layered person and what he's playing for, because his parents and then his brother especially. So I thought that was really really good thing to show.
Yeah, I like seeing the backstory, and it's interesting like they focus so much on him. Is it just because like his backstory is interesting, or is he gonna win the season? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But one thing about the letters that I kind of want to get Justin's take as a player there. So my dad and I always watch Survivor together, and he hates the loved one stuff. He's like, "Why are they crying about letters? Your loved one's coming. They've only been away a few days. Like, it doesn't matter." What's your take? Like, being out there, given the conditions, like, do you actually like really feel like you miss home a lot, and like that would give you the kind of boost you need?
I had a hot take actually myself, which this is the perfect time to introduce it. And I'm on the opposite kind of end of the spectrum as your dad, because I do not like the personal moments. I am not a fan of them at all. Whenever I hear the composer come in and play that like sad tune, I'm like, I'm making a coffee, I'm taking a bathroom break, I'll grab a snack from the cupboard, something like that. I'll tune out, I'll change the channel. It sounds like so heartless and awful, but to me, it's, we all have family issues. Shane, I know you and I have talked about like our parents' health. Some of my friends have gone through some rough stuff. To me, this was my one escape, other than my favorite local hockey team, the Bruins, to just kind of tune out from the tragedies of the world for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. Just be like, all right, let me reset, watch this, enjoy this program that I've had in my life forever, and then I'll go back to dealing with that. I don't need to hear about hardships on the show. Like that, that to me is not what it is. I always saw it as a competition, like who's the best, who's the smartest, who's the most cunning, who's the most entertaining. That's who I want to see do well. It's not a handout. It's a competition. But I do like the letters because it does add something from the other side. And it's people who you love, who are in your family. When they give like personal details about things, that's the stuff that I do like. And I think that at this point, you're so far into the game, anyone here has a legit shot to win. If you've made it 23, 24 days, you've had to outlast a lot of BS, a lot of luck, a lot of nonsense to get to that point. And it's just kind of like, here's your last push before the finish line. This is who is waiting for you back home. This is who you want to see when you get back. The people who you can fully trust, who you know are on your side no matter what. That's like the one element of the show that I do like in terms of that personal relationship. I think that it's a special moment. And it's not long enough to want to cry. For me, like I didn't miss home. I told them all, like, this is a business trip. I will come back. I know that I'm coming back. It's not like I'll never come back. My dad was afraid I was going to get bit by a shark. He had all these like crazy thoughts in his head. I'm like, no, none of that's going to happen. I'm very well protected. I will see you in about a month's time. But for everyone else, I don't know. Maybe they haven't had a chance like me to live away from home when I was in school, or maybe they're just like, I'm with my family every single day, but maybe they're more involved, or they are reliant on them as a person. I don't have kids, so I can't speak on the child aspect, but that's just something that touches everybody differently. I don't think I cried out there. I don't remember crying. So it's just it's a me thing. Like I said, I knew I was coming back home. I knew it's that long. I've had friends who have served in the military. Like I haven't seen them in like 4 or 5 years, and they'll come back and I'll be like, oh my God, now I actually want to cry. I haven't seen you, bro. I haven't talked to you. And since all through my college or high school days. But with them, it's like, it's a month. So to me, I don't know, maybe me and you and your father can sit down and we'll hash it out. But I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just saying, like,
oh no, you're agreeing with him because he hates it. He hates the.
I do like the letters though.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. But I think I would also like to see the loved ones come back at some point. I think that's a cool reunion for a TV, and it's something that you always have as a family to like look back on. That's something that I like. But the other stuff, like, I wonder what Ma's doing at home. Like, I don't know. She's probably fine. If anything major happened, you would know, and it'll be like something happened at home. We could tell you, but we got to pull you from the game. So that's something that you talk about before with your family and your friends, and you're like, all right, this is what's going to happen. I'll stay out there for this, and this. But if there's like a terminal illness, or like, it's their last days, like, pull me out. Like, I'm ready to come out. So it's just grounds that you set. So
But yeah, I like your take because I've always watching this. You see all the people get so like emotional when the loved ones' letters and stuff come, and I'm like, am I just different? Because I truly don't feel like I would care that much.
I feel
or do
awful
I truly
like
not
admitting that to you
understand?
guys. I really do. But it's just I don't know. Like you don't really know these people. They're just characters on the screen, and you don't become disenfranchised with it. But you just hear like tragic stuff on the news, or you read in the newspaper or anything online. It's just like this atrocities every 30 seconds. It seems like it's awful, and I watch this to get away from that. So that's my mentality behind it.
Yeah, I like the one episode of like the loved ones like that we used to get on the show in the first 40 seasons, but then like the rest of it was the game. And so like I don't want every episode to be like the loved ones like, you know, missing home or whatever. Like I agree with that. So but yeah, so they have the sanctuary, and then we get back at camp, we get Steven revealing his block vote to Sage, and they kind of like mix it in with what's happening at the sanctuaries, which is cool. So like Steven reveals his block vote to Sage and Kristina, and so that is interesting because at this point these three really should do something with that power. Obviously Sage and Kristina are gonna make a different decision, which I'll have my own thoughts on later. But and then we have Sophi having second thoughts as well, and because of this reward, and she wants to stick to her final three, and so she reveals her knowledge is power. So what are your guys' thoughts on everybody revealing their remaining advantages?
I mean, I think Steven's just smart because the smart thing is that threesome get together because this trio is like they came outnumbered. They're now in the position they are. They have all the power. They're just showing themselves as a strong trio by picking each other for the reward, like go after them. With Sophi, though, it's interesting because like in the edit, they just showed her saying, oh, I have this advantage. She didn't say anything about when she found it. Yeah. But Rizo had a confessional where he's like, she finally decided to tell me she had it. So she must have revealed how long she's had it. And that does not seem smart. Because it's like, oh, you've been deceiving them for this long. Like you should have said you just found it or something.
Yeah, that's what I would do as well. Justin?
It's amazing how one word too can just change the whole premise of the sentence. So that's something that I was trying to be mindful of when I was out there. And it's something that I'm even mindful of at work. And we sell a ton of soup. Shane, when you were there Sunday, we went through 2 vats of it.
Oh, wow.
But I don't tell people that we ran out of soup. You look unprepared. You look like you weren't ready for the service. I say we sold out, which is true. I mean, the demand for it was so great that we sold out of it for that day. But it's just, if you change ran to sold, it changes the whole context of the sentence. It seems like it's a desirable product. You want to come back the next day. I got to try that soup. Obviously, it's so good if everyone's running out the door with it.
Right.
But the same thing with Sophi here. Instead of saying to them, which granted we didn't see, Shane, like you pointed out, Rizo coming out in the confessional saying she finally decided to tell us, instead of saying, oh, she just told us. Yeah. So I think that definitely, they're locked in as a 3. Sophi kind of confirmed that when she decided to reveal that information to them and then go the path that she did. But I think Rizo and Savannah are kind of wary of her because, you know, if they get to final 5, or they're in final 5, but I'm saying in a scenario, maybe she could flip back and forth.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting thing to consider because I do think like flipping back and forth is something that can work if you do it at the right time.
Shout out my buddy Alex too. I think that was his plan until someone sniped him.
Yeah. So then we get the immunity challenge, and it's balancing a ball on a teeter-totter. And the most interesting part of this is Sage tries to make a deal with Savannah, which is funny considering that Sage just tried to get Savannah out. So of course Savannah's not going to take this, and Savannah does win another immunity. So really good on Savannah, and just Sage, I don't know what you were doing trying to make a deal with someone that you just tried to vote out of the game, but
it made for a funny moment. I gotta say, but that challenge looked brutal. Just standing in that position for that long. I'm glad that they gave them a little lip for the ball because at first it seemed like from the watch party, Shane, it was just a flat surface. Yeah, and I'm like, I would have just jumped off the platform myself. I would have had no shot. But at least they had like a little divot to contain the ball. So I thought it was cool to watch that and then see Savannah's follow-up post on social media. outlining how she prepared for the game. That challenge specifically, a lot of core strength, a lot of yoga, a lot of Pilates, a lot of balancing, a lot of meditation, a lot of breath exercises. It's those little things that back in the day, it might have been who can lift the strongest, who's the biggest person. Now it's more of, especially when you get closer to the end, you want to see the finesse, you want to see who can last the longest, the endurance challenges, things like that. So I thought that was kind of a cool juxtaposition. Seeing her out on the island win, the next day seeing her on TikTok explain her strategy, knowing that she's probably going to get something when it's down to final 6, final 5.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the other thing that, like, I don't know if I don't like it or what it's the right word here, but Jeff's like, oh, you broke the record. The record was 24 minutes. I'm like, 24 minutes? What happened to like 10-hour challenges? Like, I missed that. Like, 24 minutes it sounds too easy, even though I know it's not easy, but like, I want to see the long endurance challenges.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever get those back, because I don't know if anyone wants to be out there 12 hours when the sun's going down and, you know, Jeff's down on the dock.
Yeah, probably with 26 days, like they just don't have time because you have to do tribal like the same day. But I mean, if I were to ever go on Survivor, like I want to challenge myself and do like those long challenges. Like I don't want some 24-minute thing.
Yeah. I just remember like, Palau having Tom and Ian on the buoys for 12 hours, and then like production tried to make it shorter, and Tom like argued that he would sue them if they made it shorter. I wouldn't be able to stand still. I would be out fairly quickly this challenge. So Savannah wins, and also an ad for 50, because then Jeff's like, D Valadares set the record for this. So interesting that that'll possibly come into play next season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So all right, so then we get to the scrambles. So it turns out Steven and Soph are the targets, because the Riz God and Savannah and Sophie alliance are going to target Steven, and because Rizzo's playing his idol and they think he's playing his idol, and Savannah won immunity, they have to target Soph. And for some reason, Sage and Kristina are like, maybe we should just go along with voting out Steven, because he seems like he's such a big threat. And my dad and I were just like bewildered that this is the decision that they're going to make, is to put themselves in a minority position. I was just like, why are you doing this?
Right. Because, like, yes, it's true Steven could beat them in the end. He's a big threat. But I always say, like, you have 0% chance of winning if you're not at the end.
Right.
And you know how big of or how strong that trio is. So if you go down in the numbers 3-2, you're getting picked off. Like, you're not going to make it to the end and have no shot at winning.
Yeah. Justin?
Even if you just wait one more round, and I know hindsight's 2020, I'm playing Monday morning quarterback here, but at least you still have the numbers. You'll have options going forward. But then I go back to the edit, and I'm saying maybe Steven was an even bigger threat than we even thought. I mean, he's a very likable person. I've met him multiple times.
Yeah.
He's really, really nice guy. He's very down to earth. He's got some quick wits about him. I like that little analogy with the shins and the coffee tables. I know people always they hate the metaphors out there, but I thought that was a pretty good one, because I've nailed a few of those in my household, so I know that pain. But I don't know if it's just like an injustice to his game, because it seems like he was playing really strong. I think he had a shot to win had he gotten in front of a jury.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it didn't come across that way as well as it should have, probably, from the edit. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but it just seemed like Kristina and Sage were just gung-ho on let's get him out, even knowing that the rest of the trio are against them. So I don't know. To me, it was kind of a crazy move, unless there was something else in the edit that we didn't see.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Because for me, like, up until a few weeks ago, like, based on the edit, Steven seemed like on par with Kristina. And like right now, Kristina's clearly like the 5th biggest threat to win out of 5, which is not great. But like the last few weeks showed us a lot more his threat level, but it more like told us he's a threat without showing it as much. But it does seem like, reading exit interviews and everything, like he would sweep a jury, depending on who he's with, but he likely wins regardless. So like, yes, it's a good move to take him out, but also it might not be a bad move because he's a good ally for you too. So you need to have a good ally, even if he might beat you, like take him out next round.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, yeah, if you aren't sitting at the end, then you can't win at all. So,
No.
like, I think it just makes no sense from that perspective. I think they're only thinking about that round, which I guess sometimes works, but a lot of times, I think you have to be looking at how do I get myself to the end, and not necessarily just, oh, let's make it one more round when you're on like day 24 or whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
And you never really know what's coming like the next day, but you want to be around for the next day. That's my biggest thing. You can look ahead as much as you want, but
true.
it's, you never know if they're going to throw a journey at you or if they're going to do another swap or whatever. Usually there's something in final 5. So I'm curious to see what that will be for the finale. But Shane, that was a good point too about the exit interviews with Steven, and just kind of his edit was buried until the last few weeks. The same thing with Sophie S. And for the first 7 weeks of the show, my friends are watching and they're like, I can't believe there's 2 Sophies on this cast. I had no idea. And I'm telling them all, I was on the show with this other girl, Sophie. She was the alternate. Now we get to see her go out there and have this experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, basically nothing until the merge. And all of a sudden she's this huge threat. So obviously that was building. It just wasn't shown in the edit. So that to me was frustrating because, they don't even know. She gets like 1 confessional a week, if that. And all of a sudden everyone's like, we got to just unanimously vote her out. She has to go. She's the biggest threat to win. That to me was just bananas. And I'm saying I've been watching the show. I had to rewatch the show to try and catch up. But I felt like I was gaslit in a way because I'm like, maybe I'm not retaining any information. Maybe I should go back to school or something.
Yeah, because it was crazy because like she's getting so little confessionals, and the confessionals she gets are like nonsense. They're not game related whatsoever. And like you don't really know what her story is. And then all of a sudden she's a huge threat.
It was very, very frustrating as a viewer. So I can only imagine, it goes out to her. I'm glad she got the experience. She did very well. She's an absolute beast. She killed the challenges.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know. Her story arc made no sense to me as a viewer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same. Yeah. And to go back to the point about the metaphors with Steven, I hate the metaphors. Like, good for trying. I appreciate the effort because I'm not creative, so I like that you can come up with them. But it just seems so forced. Like, that was the one thing I didn't like about Steven because he gave so many of them, and I'm almost wondering, like, do the producers like bait you into doing it? Or I assume,
yeah.
Well, I would get asked questions, and this was a big Reddit thing. People would be like, "I wish you would stop talking about food. I wish you would stop talking about the restaurant." You think I'm out there in front of 1,700 hungry friggin' people saying like, "Oh, let's talk about food"? No, that's the number one rule to lose the game. It's still a social game. People have to like you. You're living with these people. It's not like you can just be like, "All right, I'm going to bed. Good night, guys. Shut the door. You see them in the morning." You're around these people 24/7. But you would be asked in confessionals, all right, how does this pertain to the restaurant? And then you would say it. And then the producer would encourage you more. All right, well, give me an analogy. Like, how would it be on a pizza? And I'm like, well, what the hell is this? I don't want to talk about this. But I'm like, what am I going to do? They're asking for this. So, let me do this. And then they would clip 10 seconds of 45 minutes. And someone on Reddit would be like, oh, I wish you would just shut up about food. I wish I could too. I want to shut up about food. I don't think I want to talk about food. I'm starving too. At Tribal, it's a little different because you're trying to like conceal information. You don't want to give too much because that's when you can really sink your game. And for my season, I feel bad for Chrissy because she just went out there like guns blazing. It was great as a viewer because you're just like, she's just calling everybody out, telling them basically to go F off. But everyone else on the cast is like, oh, we have to get rid of her because she's giving up all the information.
Yeah.
It immediately made her the target that night. So that's a fine line. That's where the metaphors kind of come in. Granted, Shane, I get you as a viewer. Like, they're really cringy and they're frustrating because you're not really saying anything. But as a player, it's like, all right, I don't want to totally reveal my hand. I want to get a little bit so people can bite on it and make them wonder, like, what is actually going on? Is there something that I'm not sure of 100%? But also, you don't want to say, like, hey, like, here's everyone I'm working with. Here's this person. This person knows I have this. And this person has that over there. And, we're going to go to the final 3 together. Like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do because you're probably going to go home.
Yeah. Well, the one difference, because I host the tribals for Vanquish, and unlike Jeff, I do not take these nonsense metaphors. Like, I push for answers. Like, if they're like, oh, yeah, I'm working with people, I'm like, tell me who. But I realized that Jeff can't do that because there's $1 million on the line and they have all these rules they have to follow.
Yeah, that's the fun part in Vanquish is just like trying to dodge around Shane and Shane won't let you do it.
I don't know if you have that side to you, Shane.
And I did want to say also with the metaphor thing, my dad got a kick out of the Shins and Coffee Tables line, so it's probably the hardest I've seen him laugh this season. And then I did like the spaghetti one where Steven's basically calling out Kristina for being super sloppy. I'm like, I would too, based on her decision, based on the edit that we've seen. Again, I like you guys said, I do think the edit didn't show us everything about how big of a threat Steven was.
Yeah. So. No, that spaghetti analogy, like that was extremely clever. Still cringe, but clever. So I appreciate it.
All right. So then Savannah's vote gets blocked in confessional. And then Soph is like, oh, should I try stealing the advantage or should I steal Rizzo's idol? You know, the edit's building up the suspense. And we get to tribal council, and Soph uses the knowledge's power incorrectly on Steven. And Rizzo, again, bluffs his idol, says he's going to play it on Soph, and then decides not to, which, again, crazy. This is like the 9th time in a row that Rizzo has done that.
Insane.
So,
it's impressive. But it's funny, too, because Rizzo especially was like, I'm 100% sure what Steven has. We're going to take it. It's either block a vote or steal a vote. Here's how we're going to use it. And then when she tries to take it and he's like, nope. And then they're all confused because it seems like it was like they all knew it was going to be a unanimous vote on him, which is crazy. Yes. So then I feel like they're so flustered because they're like, were we lied to about it being a unanimous vote? Because he clearly gave it to someone. And then they're like, he gave it to someone. He's like, nope. So then they really have no idea what's going on, which is funny to contrast with before. Rizzo's like, I know 100% what's going to happen
here. Yeah. Justin, your thoughts on this tribal?
Again, looking back, I think if Sophie had taken Rizzo's idol, I think that's a huge, huge move. And I don't know if she realizes that, at least from a viewer perspective, it seems like Rizzo and Savannah are each other's number ones. It seems like Sophie is the bottom of that trio. So if she does that, makes that move, they still vote out Steven. She has an idol. She's guaranteed Final Four. So she can't be voted out. If anything, she would lose in fire making. But you're in front of most of the jury at that point. That's a huge move late in the game, knowing that you can kind of shift the power dynamics. In her head, she probably doesn't know where the vote's going to go, though, because it has to be played before the vote. And she's a target herself. So I don't know. I think she got a lot of flack that was unnecessary. A lot of it was out of her control. Like I said, between the producer, Plant saying, let's play this advantage here, her not knowing that at all, and then still trying to make it further in the game, knowing that she's on the hot seat that night. Maybe they see that move and they're like, all right, let's just change the vote to Sophie. So I don't know. She was in a really tough spot. I think she did the best that she could, knowing that not knowing what could have gone on. I mean, I would have been pissed, honestly, if I, saved it for a big moment in front of the jury and they're like, oh, well, they played that in the confessional off the beach and you never saw it. I'd be like, well, how am I supposed to account for that?
Yes.
So I don't know. And another fact too, I mean, that seemed like that was the most grueling journey in the history of the show, or one of them at least. I mean, in terms of like mileage trekked, like when they do those initial marooning challenges in Guatemala, or even the one in Tocantins, where they do like that big trek through the jungle, like it's just exhausting. Granted, that's on day one. This is now we're in the 20s, and he had to do that. All that for a block of vote. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of work for something that like has no power, pretty much at that stage of the game, especially if you're a big target yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like for Soph, it's definitely playing the knowledge's power, and if she takes the idol, then she does appear to be the biggest threat. So it's like, and then she might still lose fire at 4. Exactly. So
if it works out, I mean, that's a huge resume boost for absolutely. But it could also work out. She could play the idol on herself, and then get back to camp, and everyone's like, "What the hell? Why didn't you let us know what was going on?" Yeah. So that could backfire too. And then you have everybody pissed off at you.
Well, and it's like Jesse in 43 with Cody. He cut Cody probably a move too early, and then he goes out at 4.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one downside to it. Because, like, if you do that and have the successful play, you're going to be the biggest jury threat. But, like, you have an idol, you play at 5, you're guaranteed 4. And as long as you can make fires, it's like 50-50, you're there. Where now, you know, maybe it's hindsight is 2020, but, like, you look pretty bad in front of the jury. And you're letting your allies who seemingly have better cases than you move forward. And even if you make it to the end, you're not as high up as they are. So it's really hard to say. Because also, too, like, I guess she seemingly knew that it was going to be a unanimous vote on Steven, but, like, you never know for sure. So the other options, like, what if she took the idol, played it on herself at 6, and then it's like, okay, you're exposed at 5, they're just going to take you out because no one trusts you anymore.
There's a ton of pressure too on you during the immunity challenge. You have to win that because you know you're going to go home next.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so Steven is voted out in 6th place. So now we move on to our favorite player of the episode. So who do you guys have as your favorite player of episode 12? Justin?
I wanted to pick Sophi because so much of it was out of her control. And I don't know. I just feel like they did her dirty for no reason. But I'm going to go with half Rizo, half Savannah, because she's a challenge beast. That was impressive. She's going for the immunity record. Hopefully she pulls it off. That would be really cool to see a woman break that record. And then Rizo, because having basically public idol the majority of the game and still having that public idol without ever having to use it is pretty badass. So I got to give my boy some props there on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Shane?
For me, I'm down to Rizo or Steven, because Steven, like, I enjoyed his character moments, especially being like, nope, when she tried to steal the idol. But as we know, I love strategy. I appreciate strategy. So I have to go with Rizo because it's really amazing gameplay, in my opinion, of what he's doing bluffing the idol. So I have to go with him.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Rizo, the man, the myth, the legend, Riz God, baby.
R-I-Z-G-O-D?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to pick him. He pulled off something that's really never been done in the show's history. So have to give him props for that. So, all right, predictions for the finale. Who do we think is taking it next week? How do we think the rest of the placements are going to go? Justin?
I'm still pulling for my boy Rizo. I have to, especially after everything he's done. And just his story too, basically from the top to the bottom, back up to the top. It's a really cool arc. It's an arc that's very difficult to pull off. But if he gets to the end, I think he has a strong case with the jury. I just hope that his showmanship, his confidence in himself, which he should be confident in himself and his character, 100%. I hope that doesn't rub people the wrong way. I hope it's not a bitter jury saying, you had the best game. You really killed it out there, but I didn't like the way you did this. I didn't like the way you phrased this. I didn't like this in front of the jury when we're going up to vote, stuff like that. That to me, it's gameplay. It should be treated as gameplay. Nothing is personal. That's how I took it. Unless you step out of the bounds of that, I didn't see that as a viewer. So that's how I kind of feel. I got to pull for my boy.
Yeah.
Shane? So I don't know why, but something about Sage's edit to me screams Fallen Angel. So I'm just going to go with that. Because, like, she's made moves. She's been, like, a fairly big character and almost set up, like, someone that, you know, is on the outs, but, like, has friends on the jury. So if she makes it against these, like, dominant people, she might be the one that pulls it off. So you got to get her out. So I'm going to go with that. Kristina, I don't see her having a shot at winning here. Like, whether she goes in 5th or 3rd, either or. I have a hard time seeing her go in 5th because, like, why would you vote her out when she's not really a threat to win? But I kind of see that trio making it to the end together because it just seemed like their story's been solidified in that way. I think really based on the edit, the only 2 win contenders are Savannah and Rizo. And I think there could be a tie, although I've said this many seasons. Like I said it your season, Justin, and it was not a tie. But this one, I could see it being a tie because Savannah and Rizo have both played really good, but like different. Like Savannah's rubbed people the wrong way. We've seen people call her a mean girl, but she's also really good at the challenges. And like everyone was like, we need to get her out, and they haven't. So she's more the dominant game player. Rizo has been the more strategic. He's very likable, but also, as you mentioned, he might be rubbing some jurors the wrong way with his antics. It's also possible that just because he comes off as so young, which is not really any fault of his own, they might discredit him a bit. So I could see the jury being split if those two go there. And one thing to me that was interesting is a few episodes ago, they showed Savannah have the moment with Blue Sophie where she told her, hey, I haven't told anyone, but I'm a reporter. And that seemed like a little odd to me, like why they're showing that. So my theory is that, like, if there's a tie, Sophie breaks the tie, votes Savannah, and that moment kind of shows them being bonded and like why she would side with Savannah. So I don't know. That's my theory. It's not the first time I've said there's a tie, and I've been wrong a lot. So we'll
But
see.
kind of like that Laurel Wendell
Yeah.
bond that they had when they shared that moment together. And I always thought, why are they showing this in the edit when I was first watching Ghost Island? And then she comes out as the last member of the final three, but she breaks a tie for Wendell. So you might be onto something, Shane.
Yeah. I think you're definitely onto something for sure, Shane. I think I agree. For whatever reason, Kristina is going to be fifth. Sage definitely has a big enough edit to be a fallen angel and being someone like that. If she does make it to the end, I think Sage probably wins. That she at least gets votes for sure. Like Jawan is definitely voting for her, for example. So I can definitely see her being the fallen angel. And then I think Sophie's not going to get the respect because of, unfortunately, her failed knowledge is power play. And then it is going to be close between Rizo and Savannah. I'd be shocked if one of them just like runs away with the votes. But I guess we've been shocked with the other New Era seasons of like it's been kind of a runaway with quite a few of them. So I'm gonna say, I mean, I want Rizo to win, but I'm thinking it could be Savannah instead. But I guess we'll see.
All good choices.
Yeah, I'm definitely rooting for Rizo because I think he's played one of the best games in the New Era that we've seen. But we saw Charlie in 46 play really well, and he came up short. So who knows? It's hard to say because the editing, like they try to trick us with the editing too.
And the jury too, they only see what goes on at Tribal. That's it. They don't see what we see. And the confessionals, they don't see what's out on the island. They just see who wins the challenge and then whatever happens to Tribal, and then they go back. So it's tough. They try to do the best that they can with the information they're given, but they're given very little information, if any.
Right. All right. Well, that is episode 12. So thanks, Justin, once again for coming.
Anytime. And big shout out. You boys raised a ton of money for charity. That was awesome. I got to get down to Orlando. Hopefully next year they invited me, but I only have so much time off. The pizza business never stops, as Shane saw a couple times recently. But my hat goes out to you guys. You guys do awesome work for charity. So I appreciate it. I know a lot of people do too. So
it was a lot of fun, as we've talked about on here. Like it was like I've been the past 2 years, but this year was like probably the most fun I've ever had.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And some of your cast was there. So Star, Shaheen, Mitch, and Camilla.
That's awesome. So they got some good representation. That's so cool.
No, Star's amazing. I mean, they're all amazing, but Star's amazing.
She's hilarious. She really is. She better be back on TV soon.
I hope so.
They did her dirty with the edit because it, like, her energy did not come off in 48 the way it is in person. No. Like, she's electric.
I'm glad she at least got her musical number though, because they had they better have given her something.
She deserved that much. For sure. All right. Well, with that, we will see you for the finale recap in a few days. So join us for that next time on The Tribe of Nerds.